free Palestine. No more murder, no more lies. No more murder, no more lies. Free, free, free Palestine. Free, free, free
Today there's a lot of drones. I'm gonna sing a song today with drone. شيل شيل يا جمالي شيل يا حوطك بالله دم الشهيد معطر بالهيل ليل يا ليل ويل ويل عالظالمين ويل 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 الله لا أسهر على نجوم الليل شيل شيل يا جمالي شيل يا حوطك بالله دم الشهيد معطر بالهيل ليل يا ليل ويل ويل عالظالمين ويل
We in the streets in the rubble, still gotta hustle. Say they really love you, but the world watch you struggle. Power to the people, we got God, we the muscle. Still reporting live from this concrete jungle. Hey kids, what's flying in the air? A drone, a missile, it's a nightmare. Community guidelines, so they won't share.
Don't talk about that.
Let the whole world scared.
And speaking about the flotilla, I have with me Nurain to give us more details. Nurain, we spoke a few days ago, and you were one of the people who were supposed to be part of the flotilla, but you fell sick in Tunis and couldn't. And looking at the developments of this week, the abductions, the kidnapping of those who are part of the flotilla, what do you make of the situation?
I am very concerned about the participants that have been kidnapped by the IOF. These are people who I've known, people I've spoken to, people who took me in like a daughter. And for them to be in Israeli prisons, not knowing what's happening, it is very, very sad. We know what happened to Greta. There was one of the released delegates had a statement that said that Greta was harassed in prison. So I don't know what to expect when they come out, what stories they're going to come out with. We fear for them, but we know what they're experiencing is nothing to what the Palestinians are experiencing. There's over 15,000 political prisoners in Palestinian prisons, and they are not allowed, they were never given the right for legal representation, and that's exactly what's happening now with the flotilla. So,
what would your message be?
My message is get more active, become active members of society. It doesn't have to just be about Palestine. We're worried about what's happening in our own communities. Gender-based violence is an issue. So get active, become active members of society. We as the youth have the power, and we need to use our voice to create change. We have to link our struggles in order for liberation to come. And we are not free until everybody is free.
Assalamu alaikum, Jumelang, Namaste. Good morning to everyone. I want to start first today by acknowledging all of you for being present and being witnesses to what has been described as the live genocide that we've been witnessing for 2 years. 2 years to the date, we had the Walk for Freedom in this park immediately after the Hamas operation into occupied Palestine. Little did we know that between that day and today, and these are conservative figures, that over 300,000 people would be massacred, tens of thousands of people would be lying under the rubble, children would be machine gunned, others would be sniped in their heads and in their legs to cripple them or to kill them, that all the hospitals would be bombed, that Israel would drive a propaganda campaign which would label anyone who opposes them as a terrorist to justify killing them, even people like Hind Rajab, even people like our own comrades who were on the Sumud flotilla that were arrested. We salute them for representing us and taking the struggle, the fight for the Palestinian people's right for dignity to the front line, to the face of the IDF. And those comrades are none other than Dr. Hendricks, Dr. Zakira, Riaz, Zukizwe, Caroline, and Mandla Mandela. And we say to them, long live the spirit of resistance in South Africa, long live. We also call for them to be released and not to be tortured, as we are hearing rumors of them being humiliated and tortured by this horrific Zionist enemy of the people. This state that is a rogue state, but it's also become so arrogant because they have enjoyed impunity from international justice. Even when the International Criminal Court has warrants of arrest out for Benjamin Netanyahu, he's still welcomed in the United Nations and by many states. This, unfortunately, is the state of the international leadership and in the international community. Right now, we recognize, like our comrades on the flotilla, and there is a second flotilla, you'll hear about it later in the program, that is on its way to Gaza as well. And these missions have one simple objective, and that's to create a corridor for humanitarian aid, for food, for medicine to access Gaza, because from 2006, Israel has had Gaza under a siege. And if you understand Gaza, it's a small enclave. It's from here to perhaps just towards Midrand, 60 odd Ks, right? One way, 40 Ks the other way. They have it surrounded and boarded off. It has been so bad that even before October 7th, and this is very important, because the Zionists would want us to think that it only started in 2023. But before that, they were counting the calories that they were allowing to feed the people of Gaza. For a long period of time, no pasta was allowed in Gaza. And we know how children love pasta. So the demonic, this horrific state of Israel has been on a mission to dehumanize and to destroy and to ethnically cleanse Gaza for a long time. The truth must be told. When the resistance forces forced Israel to withdraw from Gaza, they were spiteful after that and imposed this draconian medieval siege on the people of Gaza. And it's under those conditions of siege that the resistance, Hamas, Islamic Jihad, and all the other resistance groups said that either we resist or we die. So when anyone asks you about October 7th, know that October 7th was a response to a slow genocide. For 2 years before that, the Great March of Return, a peaceful demonstration on the borders of Gaza to say, open Gaza, let the food in, was met by machine guns, tanks, and snipers. So the killing didn't start in Gaza because Hamas broke through a few fences and attacked a few military bases. The attacks were going on long before that, as was the settler colonialism, the occupation of houses. We'll never forget when Jacob was told, why are you stealing our house? And he said, if I don't do it, someone else will. What was the name? The young girl? Where there's a guest here? Muna Al-Qad. Her video, remember? Went viral. So settler colonialism has been ongoing and it's been increasing. And the green light is coming from Western powers in particular. So we've reached the point now, and we salute our government for the case at the ICJ and their position in terms of standing on the right side of history. But we want more. We want the Israeli embassy and all those associated with Israel and apartheid and racism to be expelled from South Africa today. Our struggle continues until Israel is isolated as a pariah state like apartheid South Africa was isolated, and no Israeli is allowed on any sport field, on any campus, on any cultural event. They must feel the isolation for their racism, for their hatred of other people, and their assumption that they are God's chosen. They must feel the isolation from ordinary people who believe in equality, freedom, and justice for all. And so our demand to our government will continue. As much as they have supported us, and I want to acknowledge Durko for the amazing support on the Simur Flotilla. We're going to ask for more, because it's only total liberation that will free the Palestinian people. We need Israel and its ambassador out of South Africa. There is no place for an apartheid state represented in an apartheid-free country. And all those right-wingers who support Zionism in this country and think that they're going to make an enclave for themselves in the Western Cape, remember that we had an armed struggle against that kind of racism. And we're not going to tolerate that as the people of South Africa. Our freedom was fought with blood, and we will defend it with blood. Amanda! Amanda! Free Palestine! Comrades and friends, what Gaza has done for all of us is it has painted a clear line between those who support humanity, those who value justice, those who value equality, those who value human rights for all, those who are anti-racist, and those who tolerate racism and promote Zionism and promote genocide. And if they cannot pronounce it, or if they think genocide is a big word, they have aligned themselves with the genocideers, with the Netanyahus of the world. Helen Zilla, Uche. There is no place for racist apologists leaving our city. And we must defend the city with all that we have. And it means we have to work hard between now and that next election to ensure that nobody, not the PA with that gangster leader, not Helen Zilla with its TA and its corruption in the Western Cape and its denial of what the whole world can see, genocide. Freedom, our freedom, is related to the freedom of Palestine. And there is clear evidence to that. If they take power, they bring back apartheid. They bring back those values.
As a teacher, what is your message to other educators?
My message is that educators cannot be neutral. We are in a space, and I think I said it earlier, where we can either reinforce injustice or we can inspire justice. And that is our role. And as educators, we also hold a space where we need to create learners who are critical thinkers. We need to create learners who are critically conscious. And we need to give them the tools so that they can stand up against any type of oppression in any setting. Also in terms...
One of the things we're going to be doing is fighting about this in the portfolio committee. We've started the process, and the minister is that's not the problem now. This is a private sector company that we now need to hold accountable through Glencore. But the minister who's in charge of the department is Minister Mantashe. But this is not a governmental contract. Let me say it like that. It's not a governmental contract. And so we need to attack this from all sides. We must attack it, like I said, from labor unions. We must attack it from the actual coal terminal. We must put extreme pressures on the other side as well. And one of the things we're already working on in Parliament, but it's very early days, is a motion in which we can bring it. We expect opposition. We expect opposition from all the parties I mentioned, the DA, the PA, the ACDP, etc., etc. But that's one of the things that we're looking forward to. But I wanted to answer your question about what can we do, right? And this feeling of helplessness or hopelessness. Now, the reality is that we can't go to Gaza. It's under siege. We've tried. We're trying with the flotilla. The borders are closed. We can't even get humanitarian aid in. We can't even get anesthetics in for healthcare. Just to show you the gravitas of how difficult it is to enter. That doesn't mean that all is lost. During the South African anti-apartheid struggle, and there are many in this audience who know, in the late 1980s, when we saw some of the severest oppression from apartheid South Africa, it was also those last kicks of a dying horse. Now, we didn't know that. We never thought, and I mean, you'll ask the people in this room, they never thought that they would see freedom in the timeline that they did. But what was so critical to South Africa's freedom was not only international solidarity, it was the boycott, divestment, and sanction movement. Apartheid South Africa became a pariah on a world stage. No one wanted to play sports against them on any level. I mean, you listen to the documentaries, people would run onto the fields and release glass. They'd throw glass on the floor, or like funnier stories of releasing rabbits and bunnies. And, you know, you're seeing that. You're seeing that in soccer matches today. They were kicked out of the UN, of all these different spaces. That is starting to happen. And so what we must do is apply more pressure. We may not be able to go there, but there is something more powerful we can do. We can make it unpopular to be associated with apartheid Israel. And let's not forget, the US never sanctioned South Africa until right at the end. The UK did not sanction South Africa, apartheid South Africa, until right at the end. Thatcher and Reagan were complicit until the very end. So do not be deterred by Trump. Do not be deterred by the UK or Western powers who are not necessarily on board. That does not mean that the fight is lost. In fact, I fundamentally believe that the tide has turned. We are seeing it all over the world. And now our job is to apply even further pressure. So boycott Coke, boycott McDonald's, Starbucks. I mean, there's a long list we need to do. We need to go beyond that. We need to apply pressure. We need to make sure it is extremely unpopular. And the last point I'll say on this, the world is looking at South Africa. They are watching to see what we do because we have taken the fight to them. That means we are all global ambassadors for this issue, whether we like it or not. And you may not be going overseas, but you have social media, you exist in a community. Make sure that you represent South Africa at every single point, and we must never, ever back down. The pressure is being felt on an international level. Let's increase it, and let's ensure, inshallah, by the time we come back in a few weeks' time, we know there's movements here. It's not enough, but let's hope that there'll be some progress. And I fundamentally believe we are seeing the kicks of a dying horse. Whether it happens now or in the next few years, inshallah, sooner rather than later. But I do think that public sentiment in the world has changed, and therefore there must be some fundamental change on the ground.
Education must be guided. Those of you who take your children to other schools, you must listen to them. They come and tell you, no, this party, daddy, this party is fine. Who are they talking about? They're talking about these ones who sometimes wear, or who wear blue. A party that is sponsored by Israel. They tell, the teachers there tell these children that these ones are right, everybody else is corrupt. It's only these ones who are not corrupt. So that's how they start. So we must also have a cohort of all our teachers who are going to spread the correct way about this apartheid Israel and our Palestine to our children. They must grow up knowing.
Free Palestine, from the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. From the sea to the river. Palestine forever. Jazakallah Firoza for that introduction. And as you mentioned, I'm part of the Freedom Flotilla Coalition. And we've been trying to break the siege from 2008. Remember, the siege was imposed in 2007. In 2008, the first two boats
that sailed to Gaza, alhamdulillah, made it to the coast. And every subsequent attempt after that has been unsuccessful. In 2010, we had the Mavi Mamra, which was a Turkish ship, a huge ship, which had almost 600 people on board. And sadly, 10 people lost their lives. It was the first time that we had a South African on that boat as an activist, and her name was Khatija Davids. So we've been taking part in flotillas for a very, very long time. We had Clint DeBrain, who took part in one of our activities. We had Leon Naidu, who was also an activist and was also one of the delegates in all these attempts that we have made. Of course, recently, we are very, very proud about how something that we as the Freedom Flotilla Coalition started has now gone viral. And we are so proud. We are so proud that we had this year over 45 boats in the water representing over 50 countries and 500 people in the water. So although we know it was under the umbrella of the Sumud Flotilla, we know that we were the child that gave birth to it. And we will take that credit. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So you know, we are happy, we are proud. And of course, you know, I've been on flotilla missions previously. So I want to say that it is a very, very brave act to go onto the water to challenge. This is one of the very few activities that you're coming into direct contact with the occupation forces. And it's not an easy thing. When I was in Gaza, just after Operation Kashled, I was in a hotel and there was a building that was 100 meters away from my hotel, and it was about 10 o'clock at night. And when the first bomb hit, you know, I said, okay, we know we are in a war zone. So I took out my camera and I said, let me walk to the balcony because I need to film what is happening. And before I could take the next 2 steps, there were 7 other bombs in quick succession. And the sound alone freezes you. The sound alone freezes you. Forget about the fact that you are not under attack. But the sound alone, it freezes you. You stand there and you cannot do nothing.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! From the sea to the river, Palestine will live forever. For me, it's very emotional that I'm actually on the stage right now. It's the 16th annual Walk for Freedom, as many of you know. This is an annual event, but I was that small child handing out water, putting up posters, cutting the string for the posters, putting up flags. That is where I started. And when I see all these kids here, I hope that one day they'll be able to come up on the stage and talk for Free Palestine. And hopefully they won't need to. Hopefully there will be a Free Palestine very, very soon. Everyone wants to know about my experience and what I experienced and what happened. So basically, when we went to Tunisia, we had to do a whole lot of trainings, legal, media. We learned about how to handle gun wounds. We had to learn about what weapons they'll use. So what drones to look out for, what drones is going to be observing, what drones can sniper you. We did actual trainings where it was simulations, and okay, at the moment it was just kids. I didn't even realize it, but it was a we were all in a room. We were in a massive like hall, and they put off the lights. This is nothing to what they probably experienced, but they need to mentally prepare you. And I just want to give you a bit of insight to that. So they put off the lights. You're sitting there. You're like a bit confused, and they start playing the drone sounds. I'm sure you've heard the drone sounds that play above Gaza continuously. It's irritating. It's really, really annoying. But it's a mental game. And they said these drones will be surveilling you, and you're going to be hearing it all the time. And these kids, these small kids, okay, not small, they look quite big at the moment, but they came in and they said, hands down, hands up, you terrorists, get down. And they like pushing the chairs against you, they're kicking you. And that's when it like hit me. Okay, this is what's going to happen. Like they have to mentally prepare you for what's going on. And the people I met in Tunisia, like Uncle Sani said, the best of humanity. People willing to put their lives on the line for the sake of Gaza, for the sake of Palestine, for the sake of freedom. We need to do more.
Greatest thing you can do is support BDS. But people say I support BDS, but they don't really. And it has to be said. We go to McDonald's to protest, and we see lots of our people inside the McDonald's. We come to this protest, and people are wearing Adidas or they're wearing Cape Union Mart. We must make every single thing that's attached to Israel, we must make it haram. We mustn't touch it. And we must promote that throughout. You must go in your fridges and your shops and your clothing and do everything and burn it. Clover, you know Clover. Everybody still buys it, right? It's owned by an Israeli firm. You must boycott Clover. You must boycott McDonald's. You must boycott Starbucks. All of these things you must. And Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola makes over 100 different products, including Valpray water. And Cadbury's. Don't eat any chocolate you want to go to Woolworths. It's Cadbury's chocolate. Don't buy any of it. And say why you're not buying it. Go to the front of the shop and say, I'm not buying this because it's on my boycott list. Make a list and put it on your fridge. That's how you get involved. That's how you really pay attention. That's how you really resist. And don't show up only once. And don't only say today you're not buying Coke. Never drink it until Palestine is free.
We all must remember this. Apartheid-free zone is not only about Palestine, but it means you have no exploitation in your own home. You have no racism in your own home. You have no exploitation in your businesses. You make sure all the people that are working for you in your businesses or in your home are treated as human beings, that they have laws that protect them in terms of their wages, in terms of their meals, in terms of time off. So we must look at ourselves because these struggles are connected. So Palestine Solidarity Alliance, we've got Potch for Palestine. All of us have this campaign, which is called Apartheid-Free Zone. So if you go away today with just saying, I'm an activist for an apartheid-free zone, that will be brilliant. Take it forward. Make everyone in your family an apartheid-free zone activist.
The crisis that we are facing in the global worldwide. We are the children and we are not happy that we see on the TVs. We humble to ourselves, our leaders, to stop the war of the world. It is over. In different countries, we see children dying with hunger and guns and being raped by our fathers, of which there's no humanity and respect of father and child. Where is the law? Ukaimulao. Where is the law? Ukaimulao. My President, Mr. Makamele Cyril Ramaphosa, I thank you. I thank you.
Defeated, one woman, united, will never be defeated.